Hello, stampers and paper crafters. I'm Judith Patterson. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Texas, and today I'm going to show you how to make a card using up some of your cardstock scraps or designer series paper scraps that you might have lying around. I always hate throwing those scraps away, so I'm always looking for ideas on how to use them up. But before we do that, I wanted to apologize for not being around the last couple of weeks. I have not been very active on my blog, and especially here on my YouTube channel. I just got kind of busy with the holidays. I was sick for a little while, and then just had a hard time getting back into things. And honestly, I was just really wanting to spend time with my family. It was nice having everybody at home for a little bit. So, going forward, my schedule is changing, so I'm not going to be able to post on YouTube quite as much. I will still be doing my Friday videos, but I will no longer be doing my Tuesday videos. Instead, probably 2 or 3 times a month over in my Facebook group, I'll be doing a live over there. So I hope you can join me for that. That is a private group. You do have to join to be part of it, but I would love to have you, and hopefully we can connect over on Facebook some. And like I said, I'll still be here on YouTube on Fridays going forward. Okay, so let's make a card. Alright, so the stamp set that I'm using is Amazing Silhouettes. This is my stamp set of the week over on my blog. So if you're looking for more ideas with this set, you can head over there. And since this is an image only set, I am pairing that today with this shaded summer stamp set, and I've chosen to use the Happy Birthday sentiment. So I'm going to start with a 3" by 3" square piece of basic white. If you have a bigger scrap, that's fine. You just probably don't want to go any smaller than the 3 by 3 because we will be using a die cut to cut it out. I'm going to start by stamping the butterfly image in Melon Mambo. And I do want this angled just a little bit. I don't want it straight like that. I want it a little like this. And just centering that up as good as I can on my cardstock. Well, that doesn't normally happen. I got a little bit of ink here and here, so I'm just going to go ahead and flip that over and try again. This time I'm going to hold my cardstock down. Okay. So remember to apply even pressure. You don't want to rock your stamp at all. You'll end up with a halo, possibly, around your image. Okay, so that is stamped. And then I'm going to use the Night of Navy, and I have this scrap of Garden Green cardstock. I'm going to stamp the Happy Birthday here. And my stuff is just sticking to everything. Are you watching all this stuff getting stuck and just flying willy-nilly? Crazy. Okay, so there is that one. And while I'm stamping, I'm going to go ahead and grab my envelope. And that butterfly stamp with the Melon Mambo again. I'm going to open this flap up, and I'm just going to stamp this butterfly again here on the flap. There we go. So I'm going to get out my mini stamp cut and emboss machine, and we'll use the Stylish Shapes dies. I'm going to be using the largest square and the second smallest banner to cut these 2 images out. So you'll want your plate 1 and a plate 2. Then you'll put down your stamped piece of cardstock, center the large square over it, and then remember with this mini stamp cut and emboss machine, it's always a good idea to stagger your plates. So I don't want all my plates lining up evenly at the end. I know that's weird, but it just helps it to go through the machine a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm repeating that sandwich. So I've got plate 1, plate 2, my cardstock, and my die. And I like to use the top of the die, or the top of the sentiment when I can, to line my die up straight. And in this case, I'm also using the angle, oh, you can't see it, the angle on that B. And remember, stagger that top plate. Okay, and now I'm just going to fold this up for storage. Realize I didn't give you the dimensions for this granny apple green piece. You can always check my blog for dimensions, but what I usually do is I just grab a scrap and make sure that my die will fit on it. This cuts out to about 2 1/4 inches, so I would probably grab a scrap that's at least 2 1/2 by 1 inch. Okay, so I have this painted texture 3D folder. I went ahead and used it. I have to use it with my bigger stamp cut and emboss machine. And I embossed a piece of basic white cardstock that's 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. I love this texture on this cardstock after using that embossing folder. It's so cool. Okay, so now I have 5 strips of designer series paper, and you can use any designer series paper. I used the Hues of Happiness DSP. I'm going to start with this one. I've already kind of figured out how I'm going to lay things out, and it's not like that. It's going to be that one, and then I think I'm going to go with the pink one, and then the flowery one, and then the purple one on the bottom. Okay, so I'm using my grid paper here to help me line up where I want my strips to go. These are 3/4 inches by 4 inch, well, by at least 4 inches. So some of these are longer than 4 inches, and what I'll do is once I get everything glued down, then I'll just use my paper snips and cut off anything that's extra. So I'm going to use this grid line here just to make sure everything is fairly straight and that I'm starting at the right spot. Okay, once that's down, the next one, I'm just going to put my adhesive straight on my card base. Make sure I get those edges. Then I can just scoot that up. This is why I love liquid glue, y'all, because I can move it around. If I were using some other kind of adhesive, once I put it down, it would be down. I wouldn't be able to adjust it at all. Okay, so I'm going to use that one next. Then I'm going to go for that floral. So the top and the bottom pieces of DSP, I am putting the adhesive straight on the DSP because I don't want to get any adhesive. I don't want to get crazy and get it all way down here or anything. So it's just easier to go ahead and put it on the strip. And luckily enough, both of those strips were already 4 inches. I cut 4 inches wide often because a lot of times I just use DSP for my backgrounds. But sometimes I have longer or shorter strips depending on what kind of things I've been doing. Okay. Just getting rid of that. Then I'm going to use many Stampin' Dimensionals to put this on my card base. By the way, these scraps, I save a lot of scraps, y'all, but these I don't save. I'm just going to go ahead and throw those away. So my card base is basic white. It's the thick basic white cardstock. And I cut it 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and then I scored it at 5 1/2 inches. Basically, whenever I cut card bases, if I'm doing standard sizes, I always just take a standard piece of cardstock, cut it in half, and then score it in half. And you get 2 card bases. Here in the US, our standard size of paper is 8 1/2 inches by 11 inches. Okay, so this part's always the tricky part for me. So getting this lined up to where it's fairly straight on the card base. I'm going to use those dimensionals again to put the Okay, so for this piece, I want to center it up on this DSP. So I want to make sure that my top is a little bit into this top strip and the bottom is a little bit into this bottom strip. I'm going to take another dimensional, and I'm just going to cut it in half. And then on this end with the Y, it's going to be hanging off of my card base, or my image piece. So I am going to use these dimensionals and put those there, and then I'm going to use my liquid glue again for the rest of it. There we go. So it's just hanging off right there. And then I have my Glossy Dots assortment. Love these guys. I like all these bright colors on here. So I'm just going to use the Melon Mambo. And I'm going to place these just kind of willy-nilly. Put one there. Put one of these little ones up here. I'm going to tuck one of the big ones up under here. Then I have a smaller one I'm going to tuck over on this side, and then I'm going to use the small one here, but you don't have to do it just like I did it. You do you. And then there's our card with our wonderful designer series paper scraps and even a decorated envelope. So there's one more thing before I finish up. I have a leftover scrap. This is only 1/2 inch, and it's also 4 inches long, and both sides are really pretty. So just decide which side you want up. I am going to use the flowers to be my up side. I'm going to open this card up, and then I'm going to place this piece just right here along the bottom. I'm going to kind of center it up to where it's pretty close to being even on these 3 sides. So the bottom and then either side. Just to give the inside of the card just a little something something. Okay, there we go. There is our card for today. Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'm hoping that you're getting something out of these videos and you're able to have time to create some cards yourselves. So it's been a minute since I've done this. I keep forgetting what I'm going to say. Thanks again for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I love it whenever I get those. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button if you would like to see more. And I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful New Year's weekend and have a great 2023. I'll see you next year. Happy stamping!